From the controversial changes within the Charleston County School District to the upcoming legislative session, I sit down exclusively with State Representative J.A. Moore for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and download my free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores.
Representative J.A. Moore, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Yeah, man, it's good to be back on your show, man. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Anytime. I got to go to some developing news. As you know, the Charleston County Legislative Delegation on Friday questioned the Charleston County School Board for more than 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And I know State Senator Sandy Sent said this to the board, quote, "What you're all doing is voting to make everyone unhappy." When you look at your district and you look at the schools right now, what are you as a House Representative unhappy about with the Charleston County School District?
Well, look, Quintin, I think this is an issue that I think was kind of inevitable just based on what we saw in the previous election with the school board, this coalition of kids. I think what we've seen is just over the past several years, this movement to privatize our public school system. So I'm concerned about about the direction the school board is going, and unfortunately I wasn't able to make it to the meeting. But look, we're going to be putting out a statement later on this weekend, potential legislation to try to combat this radical school board. So. But no, I think it's a wrong move. I think they're out of step and out of touch with educators, number one. I think they're out of step and out of touch with parents.
And I know Channel 4 reported this too. Legislators asked board members to clarify their reasoning for several recent controversial decisions. They asked about everything from combining grades in Memminger and Beast Academy to celebration zones, which propose outside partnerships to help 15 struggling Charleston County schools. And I know Senator Quintin basically said at the meeting, quote, "I'm here to speak for those who can't make it to the meeting." And he basically told members it was not the intention of lawmakers to micromanage them, but he did question why the board didn't meet with lawmakers before enacting recent sweeping changes. Did they all meet with you?
No. I think the senator is right. And, to radically change the makeup of 15 schools and it's still confusing what they want to do with Memminger and Buse and how this coupling is going to be beneficial for all students involved. I'm concerned with how radical the board has been over the past several years, quite frankly. When we appointed Chris Frazier, I did not vote in favor of Chris Frazier because I had some concerns with what we're seeing now of this privatization of our schools. And look, let's be clear, Quintin. We must do something to turn around some of these failing schools. And look, my mom has been in public education for over 50 years, 25 years with a nonprofit and another 20-something years working in the public school system. So I know firsthand the challenges that educators face every day. But to me, the answer isn't radical change and bringing in these private entities to manage our schools. I think we have to listen more to educators. I think we need to make sure we put educators in positions to be more effective. I think we need to get more buy-in from our parents. There's a lot of things that we can do, but to do this sweeping change in the school system and without giving full clarity of the direction and the purpose and the outcomes that we're looking for, I think is a miscalculation on the board's part.
Let me go to the other side, because Superintendent Dorita Postlewood was also at the meeting and answered questions about Memminger and Beast Academy. She said this, quote, "We knew that there were some conversations about other options. We knew what those conversations were, but it wasn't the staff role to convey anything that the full board had to decide on." What options are constituents telling you right now?
Well, I think the concern that I'm getting emails and folks coming up to me, they're just concerned with when it comes to abuse and memory. They're concerned about the students coupling together and what that will look like. It's well documented the challenges that have been at Memminger Elementary School, the lack of resources that are needed to be a high performing school, and there is some concern about there is a gap in the quality of education in the schools and what happens with the students that need additional help. So look, I personally believe that there's a solution that's out there, but I think we need a little more detailed explanation from the school board, and also I think we need to explore some other options. I don't have a magic answer right now, but I am fully concerned with the direction that we're going.
Now, I know you just mentioned this just a second ago, and obviously it's going to happen. The legislative delegation will draft a letter to the school board and ask them to slow down that process of decision making and revisit some of the recently approved policies. That is, how long should that decision process take in your mind?
I don't know. For me, I don't think it's about a specific amount of time. I think it's more so about doing your due diligence, right? And quite frankly, our position is as legislators, I think it's not just putting out another statement, because I think we did that originally. That's what triggered the meeting with the board. I think the next step is putting in legislation. Creating laws to better govern the actions that school boards can take, because it just can adversely affect our kids and be a radical adjustment in our education system. So that's what we're looking at now, and we, I think right now it's kind of premature to talk directly about that legislation. We want the board to do the right thing in this situation and take their time, and also to better explain to parents and stakeholders these radical steps that they're taking.
I know, like you mentioned, it's premature, but there is talk that it might be the Charleston County legislation will just start over and bring in their own board. Would you be in favor of that?
But Quintin, I think it would be premature of me to say anything about that. And also, what we must remember is that the board members outside of Chris Frazier were elected by the people.
Sure.
And I'm not ever in favor of overturning the will of the people. I think I think my role as a legislator is to do everything I can to fight for and to defend the people that I represent, the people of South Carolina. And my hope is that that the board will do everything that they can to answer some questions that folks have right now, and legitimate questions, real concerns about the direction in which the board is wanting to take. It starts out with 15 schools quitting, but we all know what can happen. My mom always told me, don't roll a ball down the hill unless you wanted to go to the bottom. And so my concern is that, they start out with these 15 schools and it can expand and corrupt other schools.
Now, how many more questions do you have right now as we sit here?
I mean hundreds, Quintin. I think it's, I just think it's important to get a clear understanding of the board's why, a clear understanding of how they're going to measure what success looks like, a clear understanding of these potential outside entities that want to come in and manage our school system, how much controls they will or will not have. There's hundreds of questions. How much buy-in will parents have on on these management groups and so on and so forth. So I mean, I think there's hundreds of questions I can come up with that I have concerns with.
Clean water. I understand that not everyone in South Carolina has access to clean water and drinking water, that is, according to you, Representative. And according to a report from Live 5 News, rural areas within the state have experienced issues when it comes to the quality of their water. What are those areas right now that you are concerned about?
I think that was a great pivot, Quintin, because I have legislation right now to bring additional regulations and testing of additional potentially toxic contaminants in our drinking water here in South Carolina. It's a national push, and I'm spearheading the efforts here in South Carolina. My number one concern is the well-being and the safety of South Carolinians all over the state. Another piece of legislation that you will see be rolled out in the next several weeks deals with testing in schools. So that's why I said that was a really big pivot that you did. And what this legislation focuses is, as one of our most vulnerable populations, is young people, it's kids, and we don't test our schools for dangerous contaminants. And so this legislation's goal, which is a separate piece from the water regulations I have, we'll put in place regulations that we focus on focus on regulations in our public schools and also our daycare facilities.
And I know obviously Bill 4718 would ask for better enforcement when it comes to public water. Mm-hmm. What are the regulations right now?
Well, they're right now, the regulations, there are contaminants that we currently test. The ones that I'm focusing mainly on, they deal with a lot of components that could lead to cancer. And look, this piece of legislation won't be the end all be all, but this is just one step to ensure that our drinking water is more safe. So this is just additional regulation to ensure that we have higher quality, safe drinking water.
And you also told Channel 5 this quote, the goal was number one to strengthen the regulations around drinking water, our potable water, our public water, right, and also bring awareness. What else do you want to bring awareness to when it comes to water?
Well, I mean, I think that this idea, I've been reading a lot of reports on a number of different people have incidents where people have reported contaminants in places in Columbia, for example, or Lexington, and we know how well chronicled the contaminants were in Denmark. Right. And in a lot of those situations, based on our current standards, the water was considered safe to drink. What my hope is that we can bring additional regulations to make water more safe, right? Because I'm thinking about the most vulnerable populations, our young people, our more experienced people, people with health issues and concerns. Even healthy people like me and you, we have to be conscious of the water that we drink. But this water conversation is a larger conversation that doesn't just deal with the contaminants that we can find now in our drinking water, but it also, over the next generation, we're going to have to be thinking about, there's going to be places in America, there already are places in America where we don't have access to water. And that's going to become, as the generation going, even a bigger issue in America. I mean, there's places outside of the United States where you can't find water. People have to walk for miles and miles or travel miles and miles for water. And we have a potential in America to have the same challenges. And so that's the other part of the awareness piece. We have some issues now with keeping up, making sure our water is safe, but there's a big issue a generation from now that we need to be focused on. I think we need to do that. Start thinking about it and having that awareness now, so it doesn't catch us by surprise.
Now, the EPA has a national health basic standards in place for the number of contaminants that may be found in water. How many contaminants are in those waters in those rural areas?
I think that's a loaded question, Quintin. I think I don't have the exact numbers. That's kind of one of the reasons why we want to strengthen the regulations.
Okay.
Because right now, based on what DHEC is testing, is a very limited scope. So once again, what my piece of legislation will do will bring in as an additional 4 other components, potential contaminants to the conversation. So this isn't to say that all of our water isn't safe. This is to say that we need to have additional regulations in place.
And one last question. How outdated are those regulations in your mind?
I mean, I think they're really outdated. A lot of our regulations, as it relates to our drinking water, are over a decade old. More, in some cases, longer than that. So I think for us, what's most important now is to lead the way here in South Carolina. We have an opportunity here in South Carolina to be at the cutting edge when it comes to regulating and ensuring that our water is safe regionally. Well, we can be the southeastern leader, not just here in South Carolina, but all over the southeast.
Re-election. Why J.A. Moore? Why him?
Listen, I was. I don't know if you know the story, but I never thought I would run for office, and I decided to run for office the day before the filing deadline. I felt I'm a spiritual man, and I felt a calling from God to run. And the people of District 15 believed in what we were talking about, and it was all about fighting for the people when it comes to affordable housing, when it comes to predatory lending practices, when it comes to advocating for domestic violence victims, when it comes to respecting women's rights, when it comes to public education and higher education affordability. The people of the district believe in the message. And what I've tried to do over the past 14 months, I believe it has been 13 months actually, is speak truth to power. I've tried to do everything in my power to, when I see something that I believe is wrong, not only speak about it, but do something about it. And so my hope is that the people of District 15 continue to believe in the work that we're trying to do, and will give me another opportunity to serve. But at the end of the day, I'm at the pleasure of the people, and as long as the people will have me serve, I will serve another 2 years.
Representative J.A. Moore, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Insights.
Thank you.
Thank you.